Welcome to Season 3 of Dating After Death, a podcast dedicated to the journey of finding love again after losing your forever person. And I'm your semi-anonymous host, but if you know, you know. So I'm not sure what kind of griever you are, but I have always been the kind that really wanted to talk to everybody who would listen about what this experience has been like for me, because to me it feels like being in a foreign country and I am just constantly shocked about this experience. And at a certain point, I'm sure this was just perceived, but I was just starting to feel like I was taxing my friends and overtaxing them by constantly talking to them about my grief. And I didn't want my friendships to be only about that. So I started really feeling like I needed somebody else to talk to, which is when I looked into therapy. I have done therapy for about a year now, exclusively online. It has been so incredible because my kids can just be like playing or watching a movie or having their screen time or whatever. And I've been able to develop this really deep relationship with my therapist and get the support that I've needed and really wise counsel and an objective person who's paid to do that. And you sort of take the pressure of friendship out of it. So if you are not yet in therapy, I just believe therapy is for everyone, and BetterHelp is a really amazing option that gives you so many choices, including grief therapy or therapy for your teens, or even couples therapy if you are in a new relationship. That's something that you could try out with your new partner. Of course, we have a code. It is BetterHelp. That's HELP.com/datingafterdeath, and you will get 10% off that first month of membership. If you're not in therapy yet, maybe try it out. What do you have to lose? This episode has everything you could possibly want in terms of running the gamut of the grief experience, in my opinion. We're going to talk today to Ona, who has become a close Instagram friend of mine, and we use Marco Polo to chat about life and dating, and she was kind enough to come on the podcast to talk about her new relationship and about just some other details around her husband's death and some quirky things that happen with survivor benefits if your spouse worked for the government. So we are going to touch on those things. Ona tells the story of her husband's passing in a way that just hit me. I mean, usually I get to see Ona in a playful, silly way since we're generally talking about dating. And to talk to her about the day that her husband died, I mean, just made me cry. To hear these stories retold is jarring. I mean, these circumstances and this trauma we've been through, this is not small stuff. But somehow, because this is life and this is widowhood, we go from the tragedy of her husband's death to giggling about the guy that she's dating now. So I'm sure you will enjoy, and it's always nice for the guests of the podcast to hear from you, too, if you enjoyed the episode. So at any time, feel free to DM them, too, to just let them know that you enjoy their episodes, because oftentimes I hear from them that means so much. So let's get to the conversation with Ona. Hi, Ona.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for doing this.
You're welcome. I almost wore that same sweatshirt today, but I have on colored pair of yoga pants that would have looked really odd with it.
I was actually thinking that it was totally possible we showed up in the same outfit.
Yeah. Yep.
For those listening, we're wearing our Joy Still Exists sweatshirt from the 4-Story Project.
Yes.
Okay. So Ona, you and I have been chatting a lot lately on Marco Polo. And so we've gotten to know each other, which has been great. And we briefly talked about doing a podcast episode because of your survivor benefits and then also how your husband died. There's like a lot of factors at play here, but then also you're in a new relationship. So you're a perfect candidate for the podcast.
Here I am.
Okay, so let's start by having you tell us all about Geoff and your life before.
Oh gosh, there's so much, but I'll try to keep it short, right? 2 years ago, from last Tuesday, so April 18th, 2021, Geoff died. He died very suddenly. Before he died, I mean, if you looked at our family, you would have thought we were just the stereotypical suburban family. You know, we have twins that were 8 at the time. They were on a club baseball team. Their younger brother also played baseball. Geoff and I were both professionals. He was a federal law enforcement, an online school teacher. We had a big house. He had a wood workshop. We have a silver lab. We lived in Arizona, so we had a cabin up in the mountains that we would, track the weather and look for the snowstorm so we can go visit the snow, since we lived in Phoenix and there's no snow there. Very typical happy marriage. Geoff was a very devoted man to anything he did. His family, his career, being a husband, being a father. He played with the boys all the time, whether it was Yahtzee or playing, throwing the football or hitting balls or playing catch. We had a UTV that we would ride out into the desert. Just fun. Sunday afternoon, family time. Geoff was a very reserved man. He thought he was funny, and I would humor him, be like, "Oh, sweetheart, that was really not funny." He'd be like, "Listen to this joke I told today at work." I'm like, "Tell me." He'd tell the joke, and I'd just be like, "Oh my gosh, okay, yeah." Did you laugh? He's like, "Kinda." I'm like, "Okay." Before he was federal law enforcement, he was a civil engineer. So, very type A, dry humor, witty. Yeah. We called him our personal Google. But yeah, all around amazing guy.
Yeah.
We kind of were in what we thought was our forever home until the kids were done with high school. And Geoff was, not super close to retirement, but having a federal law enforcement job, they can retire a little earlier than other American workers. He's like, "Well, I don't know if I retire as soon as I can. The twins will still be in high school." He's like, "I'll probably, we talked about life and our future, and that was it. Like, we were living the dream that we both probably had when we were in early college, like, oh yeah, one day I'm going to marry somebody and have a family and be happy."
And you had it. Yeah.
It was just normal life. I mean, not to say everything was perfect. Yeah, he got on my nerves. Yeah, I got on his nerves.
Sure.
The good old life, and I miss it.
Yeah, I know that when my husband died, I remember thinking right away, like, no, we had it. We were living it. Like, just like you're saying, I'm like,
yes,
everything was just as we wanted it to be.
Yep.
And then gone.
Yeah. So every once in a while, it gives me a little piece that, even though he died way, way too young, he was only 45 and had a lot of things he still wanted to do, like raise his children.
Yeah.
I do have peace, at least, that, he died fulfilled. There was a lot more he could have done with his life, for sure. And a lot more he was looking forward to. But, the day he died, like the song says, I'm pretty sure he died a happy man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
that's a good thing to be able to carry.
It is. It is.
So can you tell us what happened, Ona?
Yeah, sure. So Geoff died in his sleep. I found him in our bed at about 6:15 in the morning on a Sunday morning. And so leading up to that, the Saturday afternoon prior was a normal day for us. We had baseball games for all the kids, and his mom had a condo there, so his mom was in town. We had a barbecue that night that we're going to at a friend's house, and then my sister and her family were flying in from Michigan that night as well. Geoff had an appointment at 3:45 to get his first COVID vaccine because he had to travel for work in May. He had an annual conference for his specialty that he had with the FBI.
And this was in 2021?
Yeah, in May of 21. And so he's like, I might as well get this taken care of so that by the time I travel, I'm fully vaccinated, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay.
And at this point in the pandemic, like nobody else in your family had gotten it yet. He was sort of like first eligible.
I actually got my first shot the Saturday before.
Okay.
And I cried my eyes out as soon as I got it and couldn't believe I did it. Because I'm like, I didn't want to get it, but I had a fear that I would be told I wouldn't be able to travel.
Okay. Yeah.
So I let fear get to me. And as soon as I got that shot, I cried and Geoff just laughed at me. He's like, oh no, you're going to be fine. It's not that big of a deal. I'm like, I will not be getting the second one. Absolutely not. I cannot believe I just did that to my body. No. And that night I actually called 911 on myself because I thought I was dying. I felt like my blood was ice water running through my veins and I couldn't focus. Anyway, the firefighters or first responders came and told me I was having a panic attack. So that was not fun at all. Yeah. So yeah, I had my first one and I knew, like I said, I knew right then that I wasn't going to get the second one because I regretted it. The second I did it, I regretted it. It's like, nope. And then panic attack. So then I definitely was not about to get the second one. And then that whole next week, I just had a lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainty. And, Geoff would just kind of not laugh at me, but be like, Ona, it's all in your head. It's like, you're okay. You're okay. Yeah. You're fine. It's all in your head. I'm like, okay, but I still feel weird. So anyway, okay. So he gets his shot like 3:45 in the afternoon and he went and got it himself. And then we were going to meet at our friend's house. So we did. He got a shot. He sent me a picture, as he's waiting and then sent me a text and said, he's cleared. He's fine. He'll see me, at Teresa's house. Like, okay. So we got to Teresa's house probably around 5. And so it's an hour after he got a shot. He was fine. He was totally fine. He was getting food, drinking water. Kids came. He started kicking around the ball with the kids, like social event. Yep. Normal life, no big deal. Everything's normal. So then around 6, I left, just me, to go get my sister, her husband, and their 2 kids from the airport. So we're on our way back and I was just about to get off the freeway. And I had a text from Geoff that said, hey, I'm not feeling too well. I'm going to have Chris drive me home. You guys still come here. And then either you or Brandon drive my truck home. I'll see you at the house later. Yeah. I'm like, okay. So I call him, of course, in panic. I call him, what? And he didn't answer. And so then he sent me a text. He's like, I'm okay. I have a headache and kind of the chills. I'm just going to go home and lay down. I'll see you guys get back.
Yeah. Okay. And pretty much the message from the vaccine was yeah, you might get a little sick, right? Because they're putting some.
Yeah. So no big deal. So I went to my friend's house with my sister and her family. We ate food. The kids played. We got back to my house around 8 and Geoff was fine. I mean, he was laying down in bed, but he was fine. Kids went in, I got them ready for bed. He asked the kids, hey, you want me to come read your story? And, their cousins were there and they're like, no, it's okay, Dad, and he's like, all right, love you. See you in the morning, and they went and, told Dad good night, gave him hugs, kisses, blah, blah, blah. And he was still fine. So then I stayed up with my sister. I went to bed probably around 10:30 and he was fine. He was just really restless. And he kept saying I'm okay. I'm just restless. And I said, okay. And I said, gosh, I just couldn't sleep. I was nervous, Nelly. I was so nervous. He always felt fine. He would get maybe a couple of days of allergies every once in a while, maybe get an upset tummy. This was so weird to see him actually go and lay down because he didn't feel well. Yeah. So I was nervous. And so he said to me, oh no, why don't you go sleep on the couch? You're restless. I'm restless. And really weird that he said that because I don't know, if I didn't feel well. I'd be like, don't leave me,
Totally, me too.
Yeah, he's like, go get some, go rest on the couch. So I went and laid on the couch and I couldn't sleep. I was watching reruns of Schitt's Creek on my phone. And I can't watch that show ever again either. But, and so then, I don't know, maybe around 11:30, I heard him get up and go to the bathroom. And I thought he puked. So I go back there and I'm hyper, freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, are you okay? Are you puking? He's like, no, I'm not puking because I just had a dry heave. I was like, okay. And I said, you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm fine. He's talking. He's like, I'm fine. I just have a headache. And, I just don't feel well. I have the chills and I'm kind of achy. I'm like, okay. And I asked him, I said, do you want me to take you to the hospital? And he laughs. He's like, oh no, I'm okay. I'm having a side effect to the vaccine. It's fine. This is what happens sometimes, but it's got to get in my body. I'm like, okay. He's very scientific about it, right?
Yep, people get sick.
I'm okay. I'm like, all right. So then he went back to bed. Okay. So then I went back to the couch. Couldn't sleep because I just couldn't. Then around 12:30, so maybe an hour after, I heard him get up again. No dry heaving or anything this time. I just heard him get up to go to the bathroom. So I went back there, be like, hey, how you doing? And he's like, I'm fine. He goes, I just have a really bad headache. I just really wish this headache would go away. Yeah, he like gave me a hug and he just like, oh, and he just like holding his head. He's like, my head just hurts so bad, Ona. And I said, do you want me to take you to the hospital? He's like, no, fine. I just have a bad headache and I'll be fine. I'm like, okay. So then same thing. He went back to bed. I went, put the washcloth on his head. I had like some arnica massage oil and I like put some on his feet. And he just was like moaning, you know, he's like, oh, I feel so good. Thank you so much. And then drifted off back to sleep. And then I went back to the couch. And I probably fell asleep around like 3. I didn't hear him get up again. So I fell asleep probably around like 3. So then like around 6, my sister got up. She's like, how's Geoff? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I slept on the couch because we were restless and I haven't seen him since like 12:30, but he's probably still sleeping. So then she like, my sister's very loud, kind of like I am. So she like raced back to her bedroom. It was like, Geoff, come on, whatever. But she didn't, she's like, I didn't want to open the door because what if he's like naked or something, you know? Like,
and why would you wake him up?
But she wanted to see him, you know, like, she's like, I'm here, you know, like, hello, I'm here.
Because she hadn't seen him yet. I see.
Yeah, just for like a minute when we got home, you know?
Yeah.
And so then we started like making coffee and getting like some stuff out for the kids. And then I went back to my bedroom, probably like 10 minutes after she did. And I opened the door. And you can't see our bed when you first open the door, or you couldn't see it. I'm not there anymore, but you couldn't see our bed when you first opened the door because there's like a curve in the wall. So I walked in, and as soon as I hit that curve, he was dead. He was dead. He was blue, and he was on his back, and his arm was hanging off the side of the bed. And I was scared. This is something I've had to work through. Like I didn't even go to him. I didn't even go to his body. Like I was so scared. I ran. Yeah. Well, I ran to go get my phone because I had to call 911.
Yeah.
So I called 911 and I went out to our backyard and I'm just screaming. Like, my husband's dead. My husband's dead. She's like, ma'am, calm down. I'm like, I can't calm down. My husband's dead. Yeah. She's like, how do you know he's dead? I go, because he's fucking blue. Excuse my French. He's blue. And his arm is dangling. He's dead. And he's not responsive. And she's like, okay, I need you to go in there. I need you to pull up the corner of the sheets. And I need you to get him on the ground. And I was standing, I'll never forget, like that spot I was standing in, because it's Phoenix too, and it's April, and it's hot, like the sun's coming up, and it's hot. Yeah. I was standing on my back patio, barefoot, in just my nightgown. And the sun was like hitting the top of my head right here. And I couldn't move. My legs felt like concrete pillars. Like I could not move. And I said, ma'am, I can't. She's like, you have to. I said, I can't. And so my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, he came out and I just caught his eyes and I said, Brandon, you have to take this. You have to take this phone from me. I don't know what she's telling me to do. So Brandon and Sabrina went in there and they got him on the floor. And I don't know. I mean, I didn't see it. And my sister had her 2-year-old on her hip. And they got him on the floor. And my sister says, and Brandon says that they tried to do CPR on him, and he had like a little foam coming out of his mouth. And, yeah. So I don't know, probably like 10 minutes after that, maybe not even. The time is such a weird thing now. I went to find my boys, and because everyone was up, you know. Yeah. I went into my boys' bedroom. And they were all standing there looking at me. And I said, boys, your dad is dead. And they're like, what? And I said, your dad's dead. And that's all I know. I'm so sorry. And we just, we gave each other a big hug. And they just were like, okay. Like, what do you say to that?
What do you say?
There's nothing that could have, oh my gosh. So then all of us we walked out of that bedroom and I walked out to the front yard. Why again? I have no idea. I don't know what you're doing. So I walked out the front yard and the officer that pulled up, the first person there was the officer. And he happened to be the youngest at the time, his kindergarten teacher's husband. And that's the same teacher that the twins had. So we knew him, like, Officer Harrison, oh my God. And I gave him this hug, like, I couldn't let go. Like, I pretty much jumped on him. Just like, oh my God, oh my God. And he was at our house until Geoff's body left. Like, he stood guard at the door. So he was first guy there. And then the fire truck came and the EMS guys went in, or the firefighters went in. And, I mean, they were back out within a minute, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I was standing by my front door, and very handsome, very buff, very tan. I mean, he was. Firefighter came out, and he said, Mrs. Young, I'm so sorry. And I remember holding him, and I was pinching like his tricep area. I just kept like pinching his tricep area, just saying no. He just held me, and he's like, I'm just so sorry. I'm just so sorry. And then they left. An officer stayed, and then nobody was allowed back in the room, obviously. Yeah. And then I had a text from the girls, or the girls and husbands, the friends we were with Saturday night.
Yeah. One
of our friends she worked at Mayo. She was a nurse, so she usually would get up. So during the work week, she'd get up to like 4:30. So she was up. So she sent a text at her friend's thread, and she's like, "I know it's early, and you guys are probably all still sleeping, but I'm just wondering how Geoff's feeling this morning." Mm. And I just replied with, "He's dead." And then they were like, "What?" And I took a selfie of Officer Harrison and I. I said, Officer Harrison was the first one at my house this morning. Yeah. And then I don't even think everything after that just was like, if you didn't know that somebody died at my house, or if you didn't know that someone was dead, like if you had a drone view of our house, you would have thought like we were like celebrating or something, because there was just over. Yeah, like so many people came over just to be there, and then I had a lot of local law enforcement come, and like I had to be interviewed, and
oh no. Yeah, I think that's interesting, because like my husband he died at the hospital. You know, it was also sudden, but it wasn't in my house, and nobody came to my house. I mean, like all my friends and family, right? But nobody official.
Yeah, it was very intense at times.
How long did you stay in that house before you moved back to Michigan?
I sold that house. My closing date was November of 2021. So,
did the boys express interest in wanting to leave?
No. When I approached them about it, they were excited because they were excited to move to Michigan because this is where my family is. So they automatically associated it with being around cousins and aunts and uncles and grandma and grandpa. Yeah, but they were scared. Yeah. I mean, they liked their life. They loved their house, and I had some family there. I mean, I have a brother there, but he lived an hour away and different. If I knew that I would have been able to keep up with our lifestyle there, maybe I would have stayed, but I knew I couldn't. Not without Geoff's income. There's no, we created that together. It's nothing I could have sustained by myself.
Yeah.
But they're like in Michigan. They like
it.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they're very happy here. They're, in all kinds of sports. They love their school. They love their new friends. They love being close to my family.
Yeah. Since you brought up Geoff's income, can we talk really briefly about your survivor benefits? And because he was a federal employee, it's different than if he were just a private company worker, right? Like for me, I get Social Security benefits because my husband paid into those, but yours are different, correct?
I still get Social Security benefits.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's the same.
Okay.
But I also have from his company, from his employer, I have survivor benefits.
Okay.
So pretty much what it is they treat it as, and this happens too if you were to divorce a federal employee.
Right, yes.
They treated Geoff as if he retired early.
Okay.
So there went a big chunk of any money. And then from there, I get a very small fractional amount of what that amount would be if he retired today, or if he retired on that date instead of dying. If he would have just said, I retire from the FBI.
Right, because same thing, obviously.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, like heavy sarcasm.
Yeah, right. I'm done working for you.
Oh my God. Okay.
So they take that lump sum of whatever his pension would be, because it's one of the few remaining jobs that still have pensions, right?
Mm-hmm.
They would take what that pension would be and do 1% of it for the spousal,
Mm-hmm.
and then do another percent of it for like a survival rate. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then the kids get a benefit, or that's just through Social Security?
So within this benefit is health insurance.
Okay, that's nice.
So I have health insurance. So it can be a monetary. So if I didn't need health insurance, if I'm like, oh no, I'm working, I can cover my own self for health insurance, and I got the kids' health insurance, then the monetary amount would be more every month that I get.
Okay.
So instead, I want the insurance.
Yeah.
So the monetary amount is like, it's minimal. I mean, it's very, very minimal, but my kids are fully insured and I'm fully insured. For the rest of my life.
Excellent.
Unless
yeah,
the kids, until whatever the age is, who knows what the law
is. It 18 or as long as it's secondary?
I want to say it maybe is 23.
Okay.
It's in the early 20s. It changed.
Okay.
I mean, so far from it that I don't really know, but I just know they have insurance no matter what. And then every year for open enrollment, I get the choice. So it's like I'm working for them, because pretty much they do. If I'm honest. I feel owned by them sometimes. So every open enrollment season, I get a choice. Like I can switch up the benefits. I can change whoever it is. I work there. I can choose to change benefits.
Sure. So
like when kids get braces, I can, switch up.
Okay. So the unless is the interesting part for the topic of this podcast.
Yes. The unless is if I remarry before 55, then I lose the benefits.
So, damn.
I mean, I was 45 when Geoff died. So that's 10 years.
That's 10 years. And I imagine for someone who was 30 when their spouse died.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually asked somebody at headquarters why that was, if you want to know.
Yeah, I do want to know.
He says the children, so if I remarry before 55, the children will remain entitled to their benefits. But that's unclear to me, because their benefits are taken out of what I thought was like my benefit. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's another formula. I'm sure there's a formula, right?
Yeah.
But he said he doesn't know the significance of the 55 age threshold, but he assumes it has to do partly with the old civil service retirement system, minimum retirement age of 55. And then he said the survivor annuity is based on the loss of income within the household. A new marriage via government rationale introduces a new flow of income into the household, and there is no longer a need for the survivor annuity. So according to the government, a new marriage means an increase of income.
Right. Which in theory it would.
Yes.
However, you still should get your spouse's benefits. I was talking to another girl about this, and she was telling me that, this is really like a moral dilemma for a lot of people, because they feel like there are many who wouldn't be in relationship or intimate with someone without being married. So then essentially they have to get married without being married by the state in order to hold their benefits. Yeah.
I mean, that's same with me. I mean, let's say, time goes on and we want to blend families and live under the same, and even just the example that would set for my children and for the other party's children, if there were, I'm speaking of what's going on now, there are children.
Yeah.
I mean, part of being in a relationship and I mean, for me, morally, part of being in a relationship is showing my children what a healthy relationship is and kind of what I consider to be the right way to do things. And I mean, living together is one commitment, but yes, with children, I believe that you should be married if you're going to live together.
Yeah. So for you personally, because I know you are also a believer, you're a churchgoer, would you do like a religious ceremony without the state in order to avoid this loss of benefits? Or how do you see yourself handling it? Let's say we haven't even talked about your relationship, but like let's just say we'll get there. Let's just say things were to move forward. Like, is that what you would do?
Yeah, I would. And I don't even know that I would do it for the church's sake, because while I am a believer, I also am a firm believer in it's between you and God. Like,
yeah, that's what I meant more.
Yeah, like I don't walk around feeling like I need to prove to God or do right for God. Like, no. Listen, God, you've thrown me into the depths of, or somebody into the depths of sorrow. Like, really, I'm not worried about what God thinks of me anymore. I mean, I know that's not. I think I've proven that I'm okay of a person. Yeah.
But more like for your kids or for your family, or I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, for my kids.
Yeah.
Yes. And for any kids that would be involved. I think it would be very important for them to see that this man and this woman are going to be committed to each other.
Yeah.
And I mean, in a young person's mind, that automatically means a wedding, right? Yeah. I mean, stereotypically speaking, traditionally speaking, that's what a wedding means.
Yeah. My boyfriend and I were just talking about this the other day, and he was like, when we really think about it and we get down to it, we know we're committed to each other. The wedding, the marriage is for everybody else.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So it would be for the kids.
Yeah. Wait, okay, before we get to the new guy, have you talked to other widows who feel like either, like in this scenario, who feel like they would give up their benefits in order to get legally married, or opinions about this?
I only have I talked to two other widows that their husbands actually worked with Geoff, and neither of them are dating.
Okay.
So like they know it's there, but for them right now, it's just there.
Yeah, it's a pressing issue.
It's nothing to think about because they're not dating,
Yeah.
And those are only two that I know.
Okay. So, but you are dating.
I am dating.
Look at that transition. Tell us everything, Ona, or everything you want to tell.
Some things are better left secrets. No, not secret. Yeah. So I just, I put myself out there. I was scared to date, but I wanted to like meet somebody for lunch every once in a while and laugh and giggle and, have someone to have like inside jokes with. I miss that. I miss the companionship of being married. I just do. I mean, I miss it. So, but I also, when I decided to go on to Bumble, it's like, it'll be easy for me because I had to make the first move on Bumble. So I know myself, like, I'm not going to be making any first moves. I'm not going to be, it was for me because I know me. I'm like, just not going to do it, But I also went on there knowing, like, I wasn't looking for a relationship.
Yeah.
I was looking for, like I said, meeting up for lunch every once in a while. And that's it. Because I also didn't want to put myself out there and like always have to find a babysitter for my kids. And I know my limits. I know my lifestyle. But I made the first move. I chatted with a couple guys. So I guess I made the first move with a couple guys. But
wait, walk us through that mindset, because you went in being like, I'm not going to do anything. So what made the switch happen?
Well, we'll see. Okay. So I went on the first time. It was a waste of my time. It just was. I was like, this is a waste of my time. Went on a couple of dates. And I was like, this is not what I want to be doing with my life. I wasn't interested, And then a couple of months later, my kids went back to school. And I actually, as weird as it sounds, I had a visit from Geoff.
Hmm.
Yes. And not that he said, go out there and date Ona. He wasn't like that, but his message to me was about love and being open to love, like continue to love. And he said, like, when you love so that some is from me. I mean, obviously not this, you know what I mean? It just was very like, I don't know. It was, and then I was listening to that, or I got that message. And then I believe it's your podcast. I was listening to, they met in college. I think she lives in California.
Okay.
She ended up marrying or dating and then marrying somebody that used to work with her husband. And now they have, or at the time they had a new baby.
Chelsea Wilson?
Maybe,
Chelsea.
yes.
Yeah. Okay, yes.
And yeah, and they're married. So this was after Geoff came to me in a yoga session and was like, it was all about like love and like just, he pretty much just like be open, Ona, like told me how much he missed us and he loves blah, blah, blah. And so I was listening to that and there were some things that she said in there that just hit me. And because I had already tried dating, you know, and I just like, oh, it's too much. It's too much. It's not what I want. I just felt heavy, you know, but there are some things that Chelsea said. And what struck me was she shared that she had to change her mindset and remind herself that when he died, that relationship that they had when he died took a lot of time to get there.
Yeah.
And she was finding that dating, when she thought about dating for a while, it's like her mind wanted to automatically have what she had with him.
Yeah.
And would forget that all took time.
Yeah.
And these, you know, anyone new to embrace all that could lead up to that. And I was like, oh, you're right. And so it made me kind of look at the situation a lot differently. It made me look at any prospects very differently. Like, you're not going to be what I had the day my husband died. Like, I'm not that person. So then I was like, you know, I'm going to have fun. Like, I'm not, you know, no serious conversation, just have fun. Like, I deserve to, even though I'm 47 now, I mean, I'm not when I met Geoff in my, you know, late 20s, but still, I could still do that. I could still have those little silly moments and all that.
You could still flirt. You could still be cute.
Yeah, right. It changed my mindset of I'm looking to fill the void of what I had.
Yes.
To me, my individual person, not Geoff's wife, not a widow, but me as a person and not my kid's mother. Like, me. I want to go have fun with somebody.
I remember feeling equally like sort of struck by that comment of like, oh yeah, that's right. Okay, just calm down. This doesn't have to be everything right now. It takes time.
Yeah, it takes time. Yeah. So then my kids went back to school and I was like, okay, I'm going to give Bumble a try. Because the first time I went on, it wasn't Bumble. It was Hinge. Okay. Yeah. Is that right?
That's right.
That's not the hookup one though. What's the hookup? Tinder. It was not Tinder.
Okay.
Not Tinder.
Just mark it for the books, everybody. Ona was not on Tinder.
Not on Tinder. If it's me, it's a fake profile. So I was like, I'm going to go on Bumble. I'll go on Bumble this time because then I get to do the picking and I don't get all these stupid messages from people that I'm like, ew, why are you messaging me? Like, get some teeth, you know? Ugh, it was so gross.
Oh my gosh. I remember going through this phase where like I would get messaged from people that just like, we'll say maybe didn't take very good care of themselves.
Right.
And I remember being like, is this the level I'm at? I don't understand.
Yes. Like I remember thinking, I mean, maybe this is rude of me to think, but why did you message me? Like, what about me and my pictures that I shared made you think that I would watch? Like, oh my God.
Yes. I've talked to my boyfriend about this and he's like, listen, everybody's going to shoot their shot. So
you never know. Yeah. So I went on Bumble and it was a Saturday afternoon. I just like, I'm just going to do it. Right. And so then the next day or that night, I think I liked, because I think Bumble's where you swipe, right? Yeah. So anyway, I mean, I like swiped a couple and I actually did. I said hi to a couple guys. Like I asked one guy like where a picture was from. Like, oh, that's cool. Where's that from? And another guy. So I don't even remember what I said at this time. But those conversations just like, I mean, they were like dud. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
One guy wanted to complain about his kids the whole time. Like,
Ugh.
okay, great dude. Sorry about your luck. Like, move on. And then
Wait, can I interrupt you for 1 second? Because I was just having a good conversation with a friend about this, about how like dating app conversations get stuck if you talk about your kids. Like
yes.
you can do like a really quick, like, oh, you have kids, that's cool, but then change the topic really quickly. Because if you start talking about your kids, you're done.
You're done. Because they don't have any idea who your kids are. You don't have any idea who their kids are.
You don't want to go into parenting talk.
No, you don't. And you're like, you want to date. I mean, yes, obviously, if it gets serious, like your kids are involved.
Yeah.
But like, you're not there for your kids. Like, you're there because you know?
Yes.
Yeah. So Sunday morning, I saw this picture of this one guy's profile. And I was like, oh, I really like his smile. Mm-hmm. Like, I just, and then he also put, so sorry if you ever listen to this, I'm going to call him B3 just to keep his name private, but it's like, if you listen to this, but I've told him this anyway, but he also put that one of his little blurbs was that he's just as comfortable in a suit as he is in flip-flops. And I was like, oh yeah. So anyway, so I was like, I really like a smile. I like a smile. So I swiped and I sent a message and I think I might've even said, hey, I like your smile. Hope you're having a good Sunday. And then the rest is history. I mean, we chatted like throughout that day. We chatted back and forth, but just about like regular life. And, he had some things to say because I put on there that I was a widow.
Yeah.
He had something to say about that. But what he said, he wasn't like, oh, I'm so sorry for you. It was, he was genuine. He's like, I don't want you to think I'm going to dismiss, your widow comment. Like, I bet you have some, great things to share or something like that. I don't remember all of it now, but it was great conversation. It was good conversation.
Yeah. And that's key, especially when you're trying to build something through text.
Yes. And then we chit-chatted through the app. That was Sunday. And then we met for coffee Thursday morning. Mm-hmm. And so, I think it was Wednesday night. He had things going on for work. He said he had a bumpy few days at work, so he couldn't commit to anything yet, Yeah. And I was like, okay, I mean, like whatever, like if we'll see each other, we'll see each other. It's not whatever. I didn't care. And then Wednesday night, he's like, I know it's short notice, but any chance you can meet for coffee or something tomorrow morning? And I was like, I can, but I have this 1 hour window between school.
Perfect.
And yeah, it was perfect because like if it was a dud, like there was definitely an end time.
Exactly. Yep.
But yeah, so we met in person and
how long ago was that?
You want the exact date?
No, I want to know how many months ago.
We met in person on September 15th.
You gave me the date.
Almost 7 months ago. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Okay. I really do want to talk to you because I feel like compared to me, you have definitely gone like family integration more rapidly than I did, right? We are on like the slow train and you guys are like, we have a bunch of kids. We're going to all hang out together. It's going to be great. So can you just give me like kind of where your head has been around all of that and rolling your lives togetime?
Yeah. So we didn't know what it was going to look like. And we kind of went back and forth about it a little bit. And then there was this nighttime hike that was kind of in the middle of where we both live. So like halfway point really for both of us. So nighttime hike. I said, I'm going to bring my boys to it because we were going to go there for a date night. And then I was like, oh shoot, no, it's the wrong night. It's next Saturday night. I said, but I think I'm going to go and take my kids because they love that kind of stuff. And he had his kids that same weekend. Yeah. And so he said, you know what? My boys would like that too. And then we left it at that. And then as the week went on, he's like, hey, you still going on that hike Saturday night? And this was in November. So, I mean, really only 2-3 months, like 2-3 months in, right?
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I'm still going. I go, why are you? He's like, yeah, I think so. I mean, I mentioned it to my boys and they would like to. I'm like, okay. So then we went back and forth with scenarios like, okay, what are we going to tell them? What are we going to, like, are we just going to show up there? Like we thought, okay, show up and be like, oh my God, you're here. I haven't seen you in so long. Blah, 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 blah. Fake it like we knew each other, but And then he said, you know what, though? I don't think, I'll say his oldest, I don't think he's going to go for that. Because his oldest knew of me because he busted his dad. He's like, why are your golf clubs in your truck? Like, he's like, oh, I went golfing with Ona. He's like, Ona? He's like, yeah, my friend. He's like, your friend? You know, so he kind of, he's like, I don't think he'll go for it. Like, oh, really? You didn't know she was going to be here, Dad? You know?
Right. Yeah. At a certain age, you can't dupe them anymore.
Yeah, you can't. So on the way, so then Saturday comes and my kids knew they were coming. They're going to this hike with me at nighttime. My mom was coming. My sister was coming.
Oh my God. Oh no.
You know, and they all know about B3. Like he has a nickname B3. Like that's the thing, right? And so I told my boys, like, hey, who's coming tonight, Mom? So I told them Grandma, Sabrina, Jackson, and Eddie, blah, blah, blah. And I said, and then my friend B3, they knew about him too because they asked me, they knew I was going golfing because I had my golf clothes on for school, to drop them off to school. And they're like, are you going golfing with Amy? I'm like, no, a different friend. And they're like, who? I'm like, just a different friend. And then like, so how was your golf? I'm like, it was good. Like, did you win? I'm like, no. Like, well, who'd you play with? And I said, okay, that's friend B3. They're like, okay, whatever. They didn't ask anymore. And so then I said, oh, remember I told you that friend I golfed with? He's going to be there too with his kids. And they're like, oh, are his kids boys, girls? And I said, oh, they're boys. They're 12 and 5. And he's like, oh, cool. Okay. So then we get there. We pull up. He's there. We pull up right next to him. He has a truck. He has a tailgate down. He's got like a glow stick party, tailgate of his truck. And I'm like, hey. And he's like, hey, we introduced the kids to each other. And he's like, anyone want any they're like, anyone want any glow sticks? And his oldest was like putting together necklaces and bracelets for everybody. And they brought, like, my kid had a football. They like threw the football.
So fun.
And at the turnaround point, there's a fire pit. And so we had s'mores and hot cocoa. And the kid, like, all of a sudden, the kids were all gone. They were out playing hide and seek in the forest, cops and robbers in the forest. So we looked at each other. We're like, I guess it's okay. I guess.
Oh, and then, this is like a dream scenario, right?
It really was. Like, we know that. We know that it's been so much worse. So, yeah. So then on the hike back, his oldest and my twins, which are my oldest, they were like hiding in the woods and like scaring my mom and me, and like it was great. And then I guess on his ride home, his boys were like, when are we gonna see them again? And then my kids too, they're like, are we gonna see those guys again? And it's kind of like we let those conversations kind of lead it. Yeah. And then like kids wanted a sleepover. They're like, can we do a sleepover? And we've had Nerf battles, and I think it helps so that they're all boys, and they're like, his oldest is a year older than my twins. His youngest is a year younger than my youngest. So, and they all into sports, you know, they all, and my boyfriend is in law enforcement as well. So they have that commonality with, you know, they Nerf guns, and they can chat about some things about dad's work. And
I mean, the fact that the kids get along so well and so easily and so quickly is such a gift.
It really is. Like, if we FaceTime each other, like, my kids will usually grab it, and like, because like we came back from Switzerland. No, was it Switzerland? They went to Florida, then we went to Switzerland. So we didn't see each other for like 2 weeks. Yeah. Maybe almost 3 weeks. And they FaceTimed one night when they were with their dad.
Oh my gosh.
And the kid, one of my twins saw that his oldest was on. He like grabbed the phone for me. He's like, oh my gosh, so blah, 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 blah. And like, they were like carrying on a conversation from the last time they saw each other. You know,
wow. Like, I love it.
I know. It's interesting, but it's also, if you overthink it, it's very scary.
Yeah. Don't overthink it.
I know.
Okay. Because we're totally out of time, we're gonna skip the quick questions. And can you just tell us one thing you're really looking forward to
in my dating world?
At all, anything you choose.
I'm really looking forward to living life with a partner again. No matter what that looks like, whether that means, you know, our partner time is just when we can get together, or if that means down the road, a big blended family. Like, I like living life with a partner. Yeah.
I hear you. All right, Ona, I'm going to throw your songs onto the Spotify playlist. Just tell us really quick. What are they?
Oh, what was the Bucket List?
Who's it by?
I don't know.
Okay.
I can Mitch something maybe. I'm so bad with
I have no idea. And then the other one was a Christian song, Say I Won't. But I also like Battle Belongs to You.
Okay, well, maybe I'll add all three.
I've screamed that one many times.
All right. I wish we had more time.
I know. I could talk forever.
I'll talk to you on Marco Polo.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Looking back on this conversation, I know that to me, even as just her friend, it sounds like Ona has it so simple with this relationship, right? Because the kids all get along and it just like seems like it's been seamless. But I also know from talking to her and from living this life that it's not. It's complicated, and there are times of doubt and frustration and questioning everything and questioning your gut and all of those things. And I just want to remind people that I think that's totally normal for us right now. Like, our brains are trying to undo a whole lifetime of planning and expectation for what we thought our lives were going to be, and we are now forced to redo that. And of course, that comes with uncertainty. So, I don't know. I guess we can stumble through together. So, I guess we'll stumble through again this week, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.